Class, yes, this is Wausau Distance Education Center. You're tuning in and listening to PLAR History and Geography. That is right, History and Geography. Again, my name is Jonathan. I am your teacher for this course. Again, we'll be together for the next 9 weeks together as we explore Canadian history topics and eventually look at geography later on. Again, I noticed we have Lillian and Rosaline from Waterman tuning in with us. Good morning, girls. How are you guys doing today?
Like,
Good, excellent. Again, thank you so much for listening and participating. Again, at any time during my lesson, if you have any questions, comments, anything that comes up, just shout it out. As I'm here to help and here to answer any questions. If anything that doesn't make sense, let me know. I'll do my best to rephrase it. And hopefully we'll have a fun night tonight. Again, I have on my screen, hopefully everyone can see it, is the cover page for our study guide. Again, you'll see my contact info with my email, my Facebook, my YouTube name and all that. Again, if you have any questions or anything throughout the week, in regards to your assignments, please let me know. Send me an email, send me a message on Facebook, as I'm there during my office hours. Um, Again, are there any questions about anything that we have covered so far? Everyone should be finished at least, hopefully at least assignment one or more. If not, that's okay. Again, but please continue to work on those assignments. Please get them to me as soon as you can. That way I can mark it and give you feedback to let you know how you are doing. So Lillian and Rosaline, have you guys completed assignment one yet?
yeah,
Yes? Okay. Have you sent it to me, emailed to me, or faxed it to me yet?
no,
Not yet? Okay. Well, that's okay. Again, when you get the chance, please do that. Again, I'll mark it. I'll give you feedback. Um, it should be good. Okay. But again, thank you so much for being on track and taking that initiative and working hard on assignment, on completing assignment one. That's fantastic. Again, today our goal is that we'll be going over assignment two questions, my expectation for that. And we'll be moving on, continue on looking at history along with lesson one. Okay, so if there's no comments or question, we'll begin. I just want to mention that today here at Wasa and Silica, we had an open house event where public and people from the community came and visit Wasa. As you may know, Wausau is celebrating their 25th year anniversary this academic year. That is right, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary this academic year. So make sure you keep your eyes open for that, as we'll be doing more celebration throughout the academic year here at Wasa and Suko. There will be events going on too in your community at your learning center. So keep an eye out for that as well. Teacher will be coming visit, getting your D&C involved as well. So just keep that in mind, as yes, we are celebrating 25 years this year here at Wausau. Very big milestone, very significant, very important. Okay. All right. I think that's all the housekeeping items we have for today. Again, if you have missed any of my lesson, please you can check it on the NNEC archive page, or you can simply go to my YouTube channel and search Jeho Wasa. Okay. All right. Yes, let's begin. We got lots to go over today, and we should be able to get everything today. All right. Okay, class. So today we are starting, we are entering week two of our lesson. Okay, and we're class one. Since today is Tuesday. So today, our learning goal and what we'll be covering is that we'll be looking at Canada during the World War I time period. Okay, so that's from 1914 to 1918. Okay, so today, at the end of our lessons, you'll be able to demonstrate an understanding of what happened in Canada during World War One, which took place again between 1914 and 1918. Okay, 4-year period. Okay, learning goals for today is that we'll be learning about conscription, the names and details of some battles that happened during World War One that Canadians fought in. We'll be also covering the income war tax, what the guilt cost was, and the purpose of the League of Nations. Okay, so again, lots of different topics that we'll be going over today. But again, today our goal is that we'll be covering Canada during World War One time period. If you have your textbook and you're following along with your textbook and reading along, where you might want to circle and highlight key facts, I am on page 3. Yes, page 3 of the textbook. Okay. All right. So as we know, like I said, we're looking at Canadian history started in the early 20th century or the 1900s. We talked about the early 1900s last class, but again, we're continuing, we're progressing forward in a chronological order. Again, we're now at the World War One time period. But before we begin, let's talk about, let's identify some of the key points of what Europe was like during this time period. Again, please note, class, that some of my slides, some of my notes, and my images may be different from your textbook. Again, my goal was to try to provide background knowledge, expand on the textbook a little bit so that you have a better background understanding and knowledge as well. Again, it's great that you're listening. Again, I'm just expanding on the textbook, okay? All right, so Europe during this time period, what was Europe like? What were the countries like in Europe like during this time period? So again, there was tension building up, especially in Europe countries, where all the countries wanted to be the best. Okay, they wanted to be the best based on their culture, identity. We have this notions called nationalism starting to emerge, where every country wanted to be the best. Okay, they want to have land ownership. Okay, so they want to acquire much land as possible. There were fights over who owns what area, which territory, which land. So that was a problem as well during this time period. The balance of power. Okay, some countries were powerful and others, which caused problems as well. Okay, so balance of power. People always want to become more stronger, more powerful than their neighbors. So again, that was another problem as well. Again, acquiring land and resources. Again, everyone wanted to become bigger, stronger, wealthier as possible during this time period before the World War One started. Okay, so this is what was Europe like during this time period. All right, so now I'm going to talk about the days leading up to World War One. So how did World War One started, or how did it actually begin? Yes, we know World War One, major crisis in history. Okay, but how did it happen? We know that it took place between a 4-year period of 1914 to 1918. But how did it all started? Well, let me tell you. So Serbian extremists assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Okay, he was assassinated and killed by Serbian extremists on June 28th, 1914. This kind of kick-started everything, all the dominoes that started to fall. Austria-Hungary, which was a country, they attacked Serbia because of this assassination. Germany announced support for Austria-Hungary. Russia then announced support for Serbia. Germany invaded a neutral country, Belgium, on the way to invading France as well. So Germany are starting to invade other countries. Britain supported Belgium, and they eventually declared war on Germany on August 4th, 1914. So again, a lot of invasion, a lot of support, there's a lot of alliance going on, and because of all that, especially this part right here with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, it kind of sparked and kickstarted the First World War One. All right. Okay, so again, like I said, the main cause of the war, again, we have kind of four factors. Again, there was military, which is not a factor, alliance, which I'm going to talk about shortly, imperialism, where everyone wanted to become stronger or want to impose their influences on other countries. And again, that the sense of nationalism, where sense of pride and based on their country and their identity. Okay, so again, if you think about it, military, alliance, imperialism, and nationalism were the factors leading up to World War One. So again, when we talk about alliance, when I'm talking about alliance, I'm talking about countries teaming up, supporting one another. Okay, alliance. I notice we have Katie joining us. Good evening, Katie. Hopefully you can hear me. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Can you hear me, Katie? I believe Katie is from Fort Hope. If I'm wrong, correct me, please.
It's Delilah.
Oh, you're Delilah. Okay, Delilah. Is Kate there? Anyone know Kate?
Just me.
Just you? Okay, I guess you must be using a different user. But again, thank you, Delilah, for joining with us this evening over in Fort Hope. Hope things are well over there. Again, continuing, I'm talking about alliance. Okay, so again, countries start to form teams and sort to support one another. So we have the Triple Alliance, also known as the Central Powers. Okay, so in this alliance, we have Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy teaming up together. Okay, and they fought against another group called the Triple Entente or the Allies. Okay, this consisted of Britain, France, and Russia. So again, these are the main countries that were involved in World War One. So again, it was the Triple Alliance, Central Powers against the Triple Entente, the Alliance. Okay. Um, Again, last class we talked about Britain influences in Canada. Again, remember how Canada was strongly linked to the British Empire. So in this case, since Britain was at war, so was Canada. Okay, so was Canada. So keep that in mind. Okay, so if Britain was in war, so was Canada. So again, remember that Canada is strongly linked to the British Empire. Again, I'll talk more about that as we continue with our lesson. Just a little fun fact right here. During this 4-year period, there were about 9,700,000 soldiers killed in 4 years. Okay, wow, that's a lot of people. Okay, over 9 million people killed within 4 years that took place in World War One. Okay, so again, just throwing out some facts, some numbers to put that into perspective. A lot of humanity killed during this 4-year time period. Again, hopefully you can see my screen. I got a map of Europe, of what Europe looked like prior to World War One. Prior to World War One. So again, remember, we got triple. Okay, we got the Triple Alliance. Okay, so again, that was Germany and Austria, and they were going up against, Britain, France, and Russia. Okay, just keep that in mind. So again, this is what the map of Europe looked like prior to World War One, or at the start of World War One. Okay. All right, let's talk about the Canadian government. Let's talk about the Canadian government. So again, during this time period, we have Robert Borden. Yes, Robert Borden was Canada's prime minister during this time period. He was in office, in power between 1911 and 1920. Okay, so again, make sure you recognize his name, Robert Borden. Okay, he was our prime minister during this time period. Again, remember how I talked about Britain, Canada was strongly linked to the British Empire or Britain. Again, so because of this, Robert Borden, who was our prime minister, he promised Britain support and help in the war effort. Okay, so yes, Canada wanted to help Britain as we had this strong link back and forth. Canadians were afraid of dying because no one wants to go to war and fight for our country because everyone had that fear of dying because no one really wanted to go to war, especially here in Canada. So again, not many Canadians stepped up and supported in a way of going to war. Okay, because of that reason, because of not many Canadians stepping up, supporting our country and going to fighting war, something was created by Robert Borden. Okay, and this was called conscription. Conscription. Yes, conscription. And if you're following along your textbook, I'm still on page 3, near the bottom. Again, you'll see conscription highlighted and bolded in your textbook. Okay, so I'm put a little star beside conscription because it's important. Again, just remember that if you see something highlighted or bold or in capital letters in your textbook, it's a pretty good indication that it is important and that you'll see it again come up in your assignments. Okay, so yes, because not many Canadians stepped up and wanted to go to war and fight for Canada, Robert Borden, our prime minister during that time period, created something called conscription. Conscription. Again, class, make sure you know what conscription is. Okay, so conscription was when our government forced young men aged between 15 and 44, forced them to go to war, forced them to go to battle. Okay, they had no choice, they must go. Okay, this is what conscription was. Okay, again, because why this was happening because not many Canadians stepped up. Okay, French Canadians mainly opposed going to war. They did not show up when they were called upon. They saw this as not Canada's war or battle. Okay, so again, mainly French Canadians did not step up, whereas most of the English Canadians supported and went to war. But the French, no. Again, conscription was very, very controversial in Canadian history. One of the most controversial issues we still have today as the government got involved in the Canadians' life and they forced, again, young men ages between 15 and 44 to go to war and go to battle. Okay, this is what conscription was. Okay, again, class, again, just want to stress that it is important that we know what conscription was. Again, you'll see it come up again on assignment 2. Okay, on assignment 2, you will see a question. What is going on here? All right, moving along. I'm going to talk about the home front. Okay, the home front. So what happened in Canada? Okay, not in Europe, but what happened back home in Canada with the home front. Okay, so at home in Canada, I'm talking about the home front. I'm talking about all the people that did not go to war overseas. Okay, all the Canadian citizens that did not go overseas and fight in the war. Okay, it could be women of all ages, because women didn't qualify to go to fight. Some men who were not qualified for military service. Children. got involved at home as well, where they made care packages and collected donations in the war efforts. But Canadians back home were really active and really supportive in the war as we produced um, food, weapons, clothing, medical supplies to help aid our troops. Okay, so even Canadians who did not go to war, did not go to battle, they were still supporting the war efforts by again producing food, weapons, clothing, medical supplies to help aid our troops. Again, this included all women of all ages, men who didn't qualify to go to battle, and even children got involved too. Okay, this is what was happening back home in Canada during this time period. Okay, so if you turn to page 4, there's a little section on Canada's military role in World War One. So right now I'm going to talk about some of the battles, what the battle scene was like during World War One. Okay, so battles. We'll see that again. There will be a question about battles and which battles were significant. Okay, so two battles that was talked about in your textbook is the Battle of Ypres. Okay, that's one battle. So in the Battle of Ypres, okay, it took place in France, 1915. Why this battle was significant was that German troops used a brand new deadly weapon called chlorine gas. Okay, chlorine gas. Okay, it's this greenish, yellowish gas that was never seen before. Okay, very deadly. Okay, as soldiers who would breathe in this gas, it would burn their eyes, nose, and lungs. They would suffocate. Okay, again, this new weapon created by the Germans called chlorine gas was used for the very, very first time in battle. Hence why this was a significant battle. Okay, so again, one battle, again, Battle of Ypres. Significant why? A brand new deadly weapon was created called chlorine gas. Chlorine gas. Okay, another important battle that took place in World War One was the Battle of Vimy Ridge. Vimy Ridge. Again, some of us may have heard of these significant battles. Okay, Battle of Vimy Ridge. This battle, Vimy Ridge, was really significant. Really significant. It was significant in the event of Canada's progress. Okay, Canada's progress to full independence away from Britain. Okay, this battle was significant because it was Canada's first military victory. Okay, where we fought extremely well. Okay, our Canadian soldiers fought extremely well. It was our first victory in terms of a major battle. Okay, because of that, we were awarded 4 Victoria Crosses. Again, this is a significant battle in terms of Canadian history because it was the first step in terms of leading to Canadians' independence, their own identity away from the British Empire. Okay, very, very significant. Again, maybe approximately about 10,000 Canadians were killed in this battle. So again, lots of humanity, people being killed as well. Okay. So again, your textbook talks about these two battles. There's other important battles too, such as Passchendaele, um, where Passchendaele was another brutal battle or fought. It was basically known for its terrible weather conditions. But in terms of the textbook, again, it talks about these two major battles. Okay, again, please remember these major battles: Battle of Ypres, and please note why it's significant, and the Battle of Vimy Ridge and why it was significant as well. Okay, again, during war and during battle, it was really, it was not fun. Okay, Soldiers fought in and out, or to climb in and out of trenches. It was muddy, wet. There was rats. There was disease. There was an area called No Man Land, where because no one had control of that land. Again, there was guns firing everywhere, bullets and firing in every direction. There were barbed wires. Okay, there was battles that fought on land, in the sea, in the air. Okay, so again, huge. Okay, when I talk about military and World War I, we'll talk about lots about these battles. Okay, so again, really significant. Okay, let's move on. Let's continue. Again, just what I talked about. What were the battles like? Again, they were climbing in and out of trenches. There's this area called No Man's Land, because no one controlled it. Bullets firing everywhere. Barbed wires. Again, many battles and victories and losses that fought, inland and even in the air. Okay. Again, your textbook talks a bit more about it, but again, this is what a sense of what the battles scene was like. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to talk about our next important topic. Okay, I'm on page 5 right now. Okay, class, if you're following along, page 5. We're going to talk about the income war tax. Again, significant, put a little star beside that. Income war tax. So what the income war tax was that it was created by the Canadian government, where Canada, where we as a country needed a way to help fund for the war efforts. So what happened was that wealthy Canadians were called upon to contribute to the war efforts. Okay, that help fund the high cost of the war. Again, war, going to battle. It's not cheap. It is very, very expensive. Again, we need, tanks, weapons, shipping men back and forth, creating medical supplies, food, not cheap, very expensive. So we need a way to help fund the war. So again, income war tax was that purpose. Okay, it was designed to be temporary. Okay, once the war was over, it's supposed to be done. But however, we still have it today, known as income tax. Okay, some Canadian citizens pay something called known as income tax. Um, how that was created was because of the income war tax. Okay, yes, Canada during that time period needed help to fund the high cost of the war. The Canadian government created something called the income war tax. Again, designed to be temporary, but we still have it today, known as the income tax. Okay. All right. So now we talked about, how World War One was created, some significant battles that Canadians got involved, what Canada did during the war battles, and what Canada was like at home during World War One. So now we're approaching near the end, where we're going to talk about what happened after the war. Okay, what happened after war? Again, World War One officially ended um, November 11th, 1918. Okay, at the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month, we have the ending of World War One, also known as Remembrance Day, which just passed us a couple weeks ago, actually. So again, we celebrate we us as citizens, as Canadians, every year on this date, on November 11th, the 11th day on the 11th month at the 11th hour. We take this time to stop what we're doing. We pause, we reflect, we remember, we say thanks to all the men, women, children who lost their lives during World War One or any other battles, we may say. Okay, so this is why this date of November 11th, um, the 11th day on the 11th month, is a significant day in terms of what we celebrate and what we remember. Okay, continue along and building more of how World War One ended. Again, Canada and a triple entente. So Canada, Britain, France defeated. Okay, they defeated Germany and a triple alliance. Okay, so again, Canada, Britain, France, Russia eventually won. Eventually came on top and defeated Germany and a triple alliance in World War One. Again, it officially ended on November 11th, 1918, which marked the official ending of World War One. Again, Remembrance Day is what we remember it and how we reflect on it. Okay, so let's continue talking about what happened after World War One was concluded or finished. All right, so after World War One, after the battle, after the war, what was happening? What happened? We have a treaty, which is an agreement between countries and members. We have the Treaty of Versailles. Again, important little star. You'll see it again. The Treaty of Versailles. Okay, this treaty, this agreement, was officially signed on June 28th, 1911. It was a guilt cause. Okay, there was a guilt cause in there. Again, you'll see this term come up again called guilt cause. So I'm gonna circle it, put a little star beside it. Okay, so guilt cause. Okay, so again, there was this notion or this agreement called the guilt cause in the Treaty of Versailles. So what the guilt cause was that blamed, it blamed Germany, pointed fingers at Germany for causing the war. They imposed heavy penalties on Germany's where they had to pay for damages. Okay, they had to give back all the land they acquired during this time period. Okay, so again, Germany eventually shrunk in size. Okay, and troops, or Canadian troops or British troops, were allowed to stay in that country of Germany and to oversee them. Okay, so again, the guilt cost was significant because again, it pointed fingers, it blamed Germany for causing the war. Germany had to pay a heavy penalty, pay for damages of the war. They had to give back all the land that they acquire, and troops from other countries were allowed to stay in Germany to oversee them, to make sure that they're not causing any more trouble. Okay, so that was what the guilt cost was and what it stated. Okay, again, guilt cost, make sure we remember it as we'll see it again on your assignment. Again, on my slide, you can see class, I have once again a map of Europe. Please note that Germany is a lot smaller, if you recall from the first map of Europe that I showed. Okay, so Germany shrunk in size. Okay, so what happened was that, oh no, sorry, this is, okay, yeah, this is right here, sorry, is a map of what Europe looked like prior or to the start of World War One. Okay, but after World War One, here we go. This is what the map of Europe looked like. Okay, as you can see and note, there are more countries now in Europe after World War One. Why? Because again, remember the guilt cost blamed Germany for causing the war, and they have to give back all the land that they have acquired, which means that Germany is now smaller in size, and that we have new countries forming. So, for example, we have Austria separated from Austria-Hungary. So now we have Austria, now we have Hungary, we have Czechoslovakia, we have Poland, okay, we have Yugoslavia. Okay, so all these countries, for example, emerged after World War One. Okay, just to put that into context, just to put that into perspective. Okay, again, we have Russia, now they're the Soviet Union, the USSR as well. Okay, so again, once again, I'll show you the old map of Europe, and then now we have the new map of Europe. Okay, again, we have, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, more countries created, um, being developed after World War One, after gaining their independence. All right, we're almost at the end of today's lesson. So next I'm going to talk about the League of Nations. The League of Nations. The League of Nations, what it was, why it was created. Okay, so the League of Nations was created again after World War One. It was formed by numerous countries, okay, tons of countries, and their goal in this organization, this League of Nations, was to prevent future wars from happening. Okay? Yes, we don't want any more wars, battles, and conflicts. So the League of Nations, their goal was to prevent future wars. If there's a problem going on between countries and an agreement, the League of Nations will step in to help settle any disputes through negotiation, okay, through peaceful means. Okay, but again, our goal was to not create any more war conflict. That was the goal of the League of Nations. Okay? Again, you'll see a question about League of Nations come up again. Again, the League of Nations in your textbook is on page 5. Page 5. Okay? Alright, so now I want to provide some background content on Canada's legacy during World War One. Okay, what was Canada known for? What was the significance and importance of Canada during World War One? Okay. There were unprecedented amount of volunteer. Yes, we talked about not many Canadians stepping up and helping and willing to go to war. Some Canadians did. Okay, just keep that in mind. Okay, so some did voluntarily support the war and helping and going overseas and fight. The government got involved in Canadians' lives. Okay, so again, Robert Borden, a prime minister, he created something called conscription. Okay, the Canadian government got involved in Canadian lives, the beginning of Canadian social welfare. Britain realized it needed Canada. Okay, Canada started to emerge as its own distinct identity and country. Again, we talked about Canada and Vimy Ridge and their first military battle. Canada also signed parts of the Treaty of Versailles. This gave Canada independence as a nation. World War One proved that Canada is a nation of the world. Okay, so it proved that Canada didn't really need Britain anymore. Canada started to be emerged as a country, as a nation, as on its own. Okay, as for military or soldiers, they fought well. They represented Canada extremely well. Okay, even though we lost so many people and Canadians. Again, Canadians helped contribute to the home effort as well. Okay, again, we produce weapons, food, supplies, aids as well. Okay, and again, not all goods. Again, there was racial prejudice, and etc. Again, we'll talk more about that later on as we continue with lesson 1. Again, this is what Canada's legacy was like during World War One, how it started, what it was like, and Canada's importance during this time period. Okay. Are there any questions so far, class? Does anything make sense so far? Any questions? If something doesn't make sense, please let me know. I can always go back and show it again and talk about it again. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to talk about Indigenous First Nations, Canadian First Nations during World War One. Again, my goal for this term for this course is to integrate as much Indigenous content, First Nations history as possible. Okay, again, this is not in your textbook. The textbook does not talk about this, but again, this is just more background information that I wanted to provide so that you can see, get a sense of what it was like for indigenous First Nations during World War One. So status Indians could not join the military. Okay, if they were a status Indian, they could not join. However, in 1917, Canada realized they needed more soldiers or men. This was when Canadians, Aboriginals, started to join the war efforts. Okay, so again, they did go to war, but again, after the war, their war efforts and contributions were ignored. Okay, um, that's why we don't know much or have heard or seen much about First Nations and Indigenous involvement in World War One, because after the war, they were ignored. They did help out, okay, but again, after war, once they returned home, their efforts and the contributions were ignored. There was a famous Canadian soldier or sniper named Francis Fagamagabo. Okay, this fella right here. Um, he was First Nations. He was Indigenous. Very famous Indigenous soldier, known for his sniping, shooting abilities. Okay, he was not allowed to go to war first, but he eventually slipped through the cracks and did go to war. Again, very significant, really helped Canadian military and troops during this time period. Really successful. But once he returned home, he returned to his culture, traditions, which led to his significance and his identity being ignored. Okay. Again, very famous First Nations military soldier that not many people know about. Okay, that not many people know about. I do have a link right here on CBC. Okay, so if you want to go to this link right here and check out, or we'll read this article on Francis Pega Magabo. Okay, I'm probably pronouncing his last name completely wrong. But yeah, if you want more information, you can just Google his name or go to this link below, and you can read more about his contributions to Canada's military efforts during World War One. Again, if you can't copy this link, just let me know, and I will provide this link as well. Okay. All right, so that's that for today. As promised, right now, I'm gonna go over assignment 2 questions. That way, everyone has a chance to know what they are, what my expectations are, and hopefully, I will give a class some time right now to complete this assignment. Again, assignment 2, very, very short, nothing complicated, nothing major. Okay, there's no surprises. If you have been listening and following along through my lessons today, there shouldn't be any problems or difficulties. Okay. So if you wanna, okay, class, if you want to turn to your workbook and turn to assignment 2, I will go over those questions. Okay, so assignment 2, very short assignment. That's out of 14 marks. Okay, 14 marks. Again, class, just a reminder, please write in full, complete sentences. Okay, the more details you provide, the better better mark you'll receive. And again, do not copy straight out of the textbook. Okay, do not copy word from the textbook or any other source. Okay, because I can tell, trust me, I know if you're copying or not. Okay, but again, all the answers, all the informations are in your textbook. Okay, you're obviously welcome to use it. But again, summarize it, put it into full, complete sentences, and put it into your own words. Okay, and just give me the answer of what's being asked. Don't add in other details and stuff like that. Okay, so make sure you read each question carefully and answers what's being asked. So, for example, question number 1: what was conscription? Oh, very, very simple. Okay, what was conscription? Okay, so again, define it, give me some examples. Okay, I have 2 marks. Question number 2. Provide the name and some details of 2 battles mentioned in your textbook that Canadians fought in during World War One. Okay, name 2 of the battles that was mentioned in your textbook. Okay, not just one, but 2 battles. Okay, and provide some details of both. Okay, again, I talked about today. Okay, it's 2 battles. What were the name? Okay, and the details. Why was it significant? Why was it important? Okay, again, if you have been listening and following along with my lesson today, again, no problems. Okay, name 2 of the battles and give some details about it. Okay, that's out of 4 marks. Question number 3, describe income war tax. Again, pretty straightforward. What was the income war tax? Question number 4, what was the guilt cause? Again, something that we talked about today. Again, it was mentioned in your textbook. What was the guilt cause? And what did Germany have to do after the war? Okay, what was the guilt cause? What was it? And what did Germany have to do after the war? Okay, that's out of 3 marks. And the last question, question number 5, describe the League of Nations. Okay, so what was it? The League of Nations and its purpose. Okay, so why was it important? Its goals, etc. Okay, describe the League of Nations and its purposes. Okay, and that right there is assignment 2. Okay. Are there any questions in regards to anything that we talked about today, class? Um, Anything you want me to go over? Um, this assignment 2 makes sense. All the question makes sense. Again, pretty straightforward. 14 marks. I will be here live on the air for the next few minutes if you have any difficulties. But again, yes, please try to complete this assignment before Thursday, next class, so that we're on track. Okay? Delilah, can you hear me? Are you still working on PLAR history assignments?
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. And I believe, are you still working on assignment 5 or are you past that right now?
Yeah.
You're done assignment 5?
Yeah, I'm on 6.
Perfect. Excellent. Good. Just want to make note. Just want to make sure that everything's good. Are there any questions in regard to assignment 6, Delilah? Any difficulties? Are there any questions where you can't find it or it doesn't make sense? Anything that you're stuck on?
Not right now.
No? Okay, perfect. Again, great job, Delilah. Continue to work hard. And you're almost there in terms of the history section. Again, class, just a reminder, there are 8 assignments in PLAR or in the history portion. And there's also 8 assignments in the geography sections. Okay? So well done, Delilah. Keep that up. Lillian and Rosaline, yeah, I know you guys are finished assignment 1, I believe. Have you moved along and finished assignment 2 yet, or are you guys where I'm at? All right, that's okay. Again, class, please, if you have any difficulty to ask at all, again, I'll pull up my study guide again with all my contact information. Please, let me know. Call me, email me, Facebook me. Again, I cannot stress it enough. If you're stuck, please let me know. I'm here to help. Okay, remember, I'm here to help. Understand that we all have busy lives, maybe working, have family, or something's going on in our communities. Okay, so I do take that into account. I know we're all human beings. But again, please let me know. Again, if you have any difficulties with any of your assignments, if you missed a class, for example, or away for some time, let me know so that way I know too. Again, email me, Facebook me, give me a call. Okay, that way I know you're still active. I know you're still working on the assignments. Like Delilah, for example, you're still working on the assignment. You're on assignment 6, which is fantastic. That's all I wanted to know. Again, please continue to sorry, to submit those assignments to me as soon as you can. That way I can mark it and give you feedback. Okay. So yes, class today. Oh my gosh, I got a cough so bad. Sorry about that. Um, yes, today we talked about Canada during World War One. Okay, I will post this lesson on my YouTube channel tomorrow morning for any of those students who have missed it. Next class on Thursday. Again, please join me again as I'll be talking about, as we'll be continuing. I'll be talking about Canada during the 1920s and the 1930s. Okay, what those decades were like. Okay, the next class, same time. Okay, on Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. Central Time. I'll be going over Canada during the 1920s and 1930s. Okay. I think I'm gonna stop it here for today. Again, thank you so much for all my students and everyone out there who have been listening to Wausau Distance Education Center. This is PLAR History and Geography. Again, my name's Geography. Oh my God, I got a cough again. And I'm gonna stop it here and wrap it up. And I will see everyone on Thursday. Okay. Thank you so much and have a good night. Good night.